Hello, 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 amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. I am so excited to be back. Thank you so much for allowing me to rest and just enjoy myself. I just got back from Paris and I had this beautiful European trip. And I'm excited because I have learned a lot in this travel. And I love to share everything I learn and discover with you all in hopes that it may resonate with you or may help you in your own discoveries, whether it's on vacation or whether it's here at home. And before the end of the summer, I really love to come back and really digest what happened in the summer. And this trip for me was a big one. I haven't had this type of traveling in so long, and especially in France. So, some of you have seen pictures, and I have so many pictures, but obviously I have not posted all of them. I don't even think I posted even a slither. I really took a lot of pictures, but that's okay. I'll trickle them down in my Instagram stories once in a while. But here on the mic, I really wanted to sit here with you and talk on the mic regarding this Parisian experience. And I experienced a lot more in France, but I just wanted to there'll be a little bit of south of France things in this conversation, but mostly what transpired in Paris, because I was always in love with Paris, and so much so that I decided to take French in high school. So there's a through line in this conversation regarding France. So bear with me, amigas, because, wow, the last time I was in France literally was the year 2000. So that's the last time I stood in Paris. And this was, I started in the summer. I took the bar, I think it was in July, and I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a long time. I've been a member of the bar for 26 years now. So I can't remember if I went to France, Paris in particular, back in, I know it was summertime. So it must have been about August or something like that, because I was in Paris and then I ended in Paris again, and it ended in the fall, which was really neat and cool. I was backpacking throughout Europe for maybe a little bit over 6 weeks, and it was just so marvelous. But at the same time, I was single. I was broke. I had just finished law school, and I was waiting, amiga. I was in limbo, like all law students are when they take the bar. So at this juncture, I still didn't know that I had passed the bar. But there I am. I figured, you know what? I'm going to take this European trip, and I'm going to do it because I know as a lawyer, I'm not going to have that time to go on, for over a month to travel. And I'm sure maybe in the future I will, but anyhow, this time around, I was granted the ability to travel for 2 weeks. But in Paris, it was a couple of days, not like the first time I went in the year 2000. So, like I said, I didn't have any money for hotels. I had a backpack. I had a Euro rail pass, and a list of hostels and pensiones scribbled somewhere. I don't know. I can't remember, because obviously this was 26 years ago. And that was Paris to me. That was Europe to me. Back then, I had to communicate with my family through payphones. And if I wanted to send an email, I had to go to an internet cafe to send emails. Lots has changed. Wow, so much has changed. And back then, I had to rely on francs because euros was not even a thing back then. So a lot has changed. So this year I went back, 2026, 26 years later, and I'm telling you, amigas, it's not the same city. It's not even close. So I want to take you through what changed because some of it surprised me and some of it taught me something I wasn't expecting to learn on vacation. So the first thing, the people. There's so many more people in Paris now, not just tourists. I noticed something I hadn't expected to notice, a huge migration. When I was there in 2000, I remember seeing a couple of Roma women here and there, and that was it. This time, it was completely different. And here's what struck me. Many of the people I was seeing weren't travelers passing through. They were residents. That was the interesting part. This wasn't Paris hosting more visitors. There were visitors, many, a lot of visitors. But this was Paris becoming a different city. I don't say that as judgment. I say it as an observation because part of what this trip did for me was remind me that the world keeps moving whether I'm paying attention or not. And I noticed something else, amiga, something that genuinely made me think. France, at least from what I saw, struck me as a country that has been more welcoming, more willing to let migrants become residents, become part of the fabric of the place than what I expected. And with that came a cultural moment I didn't anticipate. I saw women dressed in full traditional Muslim garments, veils, no skin showing, in Paris in July in 95-degree heat. That stayed with me, not as a judgment, as a learning experience because it made me sit with how differently faith and culture and climate can coexist for someone whose life looks nothing like mine. And here's the other thing I noticed. Almost the opposite of what I expected. I barely saw any law enforcement. I see more police presence here at home in the United States walking on my streets than I saw the entire time I was in Paris. That surprised me. It made me realize how much of what I assume is just how the world works is actually just how my world works. Interesting, right? And still, Paris is vibrant. Paris is lovely, amazing. There's so much to be a part of. The monuments, the shopping, the people. I know there's a reputation that Parisians don't love Americans. I don't feel that. Maybe it's because I speak Spanish and I used a lot of it there. I speak a little French too, so it wasn't as daunting for me as I think it is for some amigas who go without either language in their pocket. But here's the part I really want to sit with because this is where it stopped being a vacation story and started being a God story. So we hired a driver for part of our trip, and I was just sitting there in the back seat when I looked to my right. No reason, just looked, and there it was, writing on the wall, Albert Camus' own words. Now, I read L'Étranger, The Stranger, back in high school, years ago. And here's the piece that made it land the way it did. I took French in high school instead of Spanish. which if you know my story, you know it is a little bit funny because Spanish was already sitting in my house, in my family, in my blood. But something in me at 15 or 16 years old chose French instead. And decades later, in the back of a car in France, that choice reached back and tapped me on the shoulder. If I hadn't taken French, that wall would have just been a wall. Words I couldn't read, any language I never claimed. Instead, I looked right at the exact moment and I could actually receive it. That is not a coincidence, amigas. That's synchronicity. That is Dios. That is God putting the exact right thing in front of you at the exact right moment. But only because you already said yes to something years before you knew why. I didn't know at 15 why I was choosing French. I just fell in love with Paris and that culture and the fashion. But I chose it nevertheless. And Paris, all these years later, showed me why. So here's the lesson, amigas. From broke law student to wife, mother, and podcaster, walking those same streets, from a hostel bunk to a hotel with my family beside me, from waiting on bar results to building business that didn't exist yet, a few things I'm bringing home with me. Trust the divine unfolding, even when the world looks different than the last time you saw it. Paris changed. I changed. Neither of those things means either of us got worse. Use the language you have. Don't wait until it's perfect. My broken French and my full Spanish opened doors, and this trip, that silence would have kept closed. And trust the choices you made before you understood them. Just trust them. Trust those choices. I didn't know why I picked French over Spanish at 15. I just did. Decades later, God used that one small decision to hand me a moment in the back of a car that I never could have received otherwise. Some of the seeds you're planting right now, amiga, won't bloom for 26 years. Plant them anyways. I invite you to listen to this episode with an open mind and an open heart, and to ask yourself, when's the last time you went back to a place or a version of yourself and let it surprise you? I leave you with that, amigas. As you know, I'm here for you always and in all ways. And I look forward to hearing from you. Please, if this resonates with you, please, I would love a review. You can certainly go on Apple Podcasts, scroll down to the bottom, and you can either put 5 stars, I hope you do, and you can also insert a review. And only that way does my podcast get heard across the world and continue to inspire and trickle down some information, perhaps, that you can use either today or in the future. So, amigas, thank you so much for hanging tight, hanging in there with me. And as always, I love you, and I'll see you on the next episode.